I was 25 when my world turned upside down, all because of a choice I thought would bring excitement to my relationship. My boyfriend, Ethan, and I had been together for 3 years. We were comfortable, happy even, but I couldn't shake this restless feeling. I'd heard friends talk about open relationships, how they could keep things fresh, how they could test boundaries without breaking them. It sounded thrilling, like a way to spice up our lives without losing what we had. So one evening, over a glass of wine at our favorite dimly lit restaurant, I brought it up. "Ethan," I said, my voice trembling with a mix of excitement and nerves, "what if we tried an open relationship, just to see what it's like?" His face froze, the warmth in his eyes replaced by something unreadable. He took a long sip of his drink before responding. "I don't know, Lily," he said carefully. "What if one of us catches feelings for someone else? That's not something you can just undo." I laughed it off, brushing away his concern like it was a stray crumb on the table. "We're stronger than that," I insisted. "It'll just be fun, nothing serious." Reluctantly, he agreed, though I could tell his heart wasn't in it. First, it was exhilarating. I went on a few dates, flirted with strangers, and felt a rush I hadn't felt in years. Ethan, though, seemed quieter, more reserved. He'd go out too, but he didn't talk much about it, and I didn't press him. I was too caught up in my own adventures to notice the distance growing between us. Then, about 3 months into our experiment, everything changed. Ethan sat me down one night in our living room, his hands clasped tightly together. "Lily," he said, his voice heavy, "I've met someone. I didn't mean for it to happen, but I have feelings for her. I think we need to end this." My stomach dropped. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. "What do you mean, end this?" I stammered. This was supposed to be fun, not this. He looked at me, his eyes filled with a mix of guilt and resolve. "I told you this could happen," he said quietly. "You wanted to open things up. I tried to warn you." I was furious, heartbroken, and worst of all, I knew he was right. I'd pushed for this, ignored his hesitation, and now I was losing him. Ethan moved out the next week, and I was left alone in our apartment, surrounded by memories of us. I couldn't stop replaying our conversation, wondering what I could have done differently. I'd wanted freedom, but not like this. Desperate to fix things, I turned to an online forum for advice. I poured my heart out, explaining how I'd suggested the open relationship, how Ethan had fallen for someone else, and how I wanted him back. The responses were brutal. "You made your bed, now lie in it," one person wrote. "You can't be mad he moved on when you opened the door," said another. They weren't wrong, but their words stung. A few suggested therapy, urging me to look at why I'd wanted an open relationship in the first place. I was already seeing a therapist, but I hadn't been honest with her about how much this hurt, how much I blamed myself. As the weeks passed, my pain turned into something uglier, obsession. I couldn't stop thinking about Ethan and his new girlfriend, Sarah. I'd seen her picture on social media. Blonde, petite, with a bright smile that made my stomach churn. One night, after too many glasses of wine, I drove to the bar where I knew they'd be. I don't know what I expected to accomplish, but I needed to see them, to confront them. When I walked in and saw them laughing together, something in me snapped. I marched over, my voice shaking as I demanded to know how they could do this to me. Sarah looked startled, but Ethan's face hardened. "Lily, you need to leave," he said. I didn't listen. I kept yelling, tears streaming down my face, until Sarah panicked, pulled out pepper spray and used it. The burning was unbearable, and I stumbled out of the bar, humiliated and sobbing. The next day, I got a notification that Ethan had filed for a restraining order. I was devastated, not just because of the legal consequences, but because it felt so final. He was cutting me out of his life completely. I went back to the forum, updating everyone on what had happened, hoping for some sympathy. Instead, the community doubled down. "You need serious help," one commenter wrote. "You're acting like a stalker. Get therapy and leave them alone." Another pointed out the irony. I'd wanted an open relationship, but the moment Ethan found someone else, I couldn't handle it. Their words cut deep, but they forced me to face the truth. I'd been selfish, reckless, and now I was paying the price. In therapy, I started unpacking everything. I talked about how I'd felt trapped in my relationship, not because of Ethan, but because of my own insecurities. I'd thought an open relationship would make me feel free, But instead it exposed how unprepared I was for the consequences. My therapist helped me see that my actions, pushing for the open relationship, confronting Ethan and Sarah, came from a place of fear and control, not love. I wanted to grow to be better, but it was hard. Every day I missed Ethan. I'd see something that reminded me of him, a coffee shop we used to visit, a song we loved, and the ache would start all over again. I tried reaching out once, sending him a long, apologetic email, but he never responded. The restraining order made it clear he wanted no contact, and I had to respect that no matter how much it hurt. Months later, I was still grappling with the fallout. I'd read stories online about couples who'd survived infidelity, and I wondered if Ethan and I could have made it work if I'd handled things differently. Those stories taught me how devastating trickle truth, dribbling out bits of honesty over time, could be. If I'd been upfront with Ethan about my restlessness, if we'd talked honestly instead of jumping into an open relationship, maybe things would have been different. Reconciliation, I learned, required brutal transparency and a willingness to face your own flaws. I wasn't sure I'd been capable of that back then, but I was trying now. Looking back, I see how my choices shaped this mess. I'd listened to bad advice, from friends who'd crashed and burned in their own relationships, from my own impulsive heart, and ignored the one person who'd tried to warn me. Ethan had been right. Feelings aren't something you can control, not when you invite chaos into your relationship. I'm still working on myself, still learning to live with the regret. Some days I imagine a future where I'm wiser, where I can love someone without sabotaging it. But for now, I'm just trying to heal one painful step at a time.